Welcome to the Well-Oiled Canine Podcast. I'm your host and educator, Dana Brigman. As a certified holistic pet health coach, I hold certifications in canine nutrition, aromatherapy, homeopathy, and many other areas of natural wellness and behavior. It is my great joy to share resources with you that focus on keeping your dog happy and healthy for years to come. For more information, visit my website, welloiledcanine.com, where we're on a mission for your dog to eat better, feel better, and live longer, and to help you cut through the overwhelm. Now, on to today's show. Hey, we're live. So, hi everybody, I'm Dana Brigman from the Canine Coach and Well-Oiled Canine, and I have with me today Michael Daly, who I met, hi Michael, who I met as I went through my pet health coaching certification with Dr. Ruth Roberts. And Michael is down in Charleston, South Carolina as a certified pet health coach, but he's also a canine massage therapist and an equine massage therapist. So I'm going to let him tell us a little bit more about his background and bio, and then we're going to dig into talking about canine massage for the pet parent at home a little bit.
Hey, yeah. So, I have been a certified canine massage therapist since about 2011. I was a veterinary technician for, well, I guess I can't specifically say that I was quote unquote veterinary assistant because I was never licensed, but I started vet assisting in 2000. So I was a vet tech for a long time, and I kept being told by people that I had a way with animals. They would calm down when I would restrain them, and I wouldn't have to restrain them really at all.
Yeah.
And so I was working at a doggy daycare in between jobs, and Dr. Roberts came in and she showed techniques on massage, and I was like, oh, I had no idea that was a thing. And so I found a place and got certified, and yeah, I've been doing it since 2011. And then I got certified in 2015 for Shiatsu as well. So I'm a certified canine massage therapist and a certified equine Shiatsu massage practitioner.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Sometimes.
You have to be certified and you have to practice under the supervision of a vet. Is that right?
For a massage? No. Well, I think it varies state to state.
Okay.
For South Carolina, there are massage therapists. I think for South Carolina, you are supposed to be certified to do massage if you're going to be doing it as a business, but you don't have to practice under the care of a veterinarian.
Well, that's good to know, because I'm hoping some people will explore this career path because the need is great, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, absolutely. And it's actually gotten more and more popular. There was another girl that was doing it when I had first started, and now there's about 6 or 7 of us here in Charleston doing it.
Oh, wow.
So it's gotten more popular. But yeah, I think I want to say and I know there are some human massage therapists that have kind of transferred over to dogs without sort of the education. But I know, like with acupuncture, that's definitely one that you've got to be a veterinarian to do for animals, and as well as chiro, you have to have an okay by a vet to do it. So,
well, it's good to know that you don't necessarily have to work with or for a vet to do this. But did you also have to get certified in human massage, or is there a pet path?
There's a pet path, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, and there's online courses, there's in-person courses, so it just varies. The trouble, I think, where it can get a bit tricky is that you do need to do case studies and things like that. And so that's sort of where being a vet technician or just knowing animals came in for me, because I was able to go kind of anywhere I wanted to and be like, oh, hey, let me do massages here.
Right. Like that. So what are some of the benefits that a massage can bring to a pet? In other words, why do people bring, I know you do in-home visits, but what do they call you for? What does the massage do for the dog?
So the main thing that I get called in for, the 2 main things I get called in for are for pets that are older with arthritis. Okay. And then pets that do dog agility, that do dog sports, to help with preventing injuries and things like that. So there's many benefits to massage. There's, you know, the idea of increasing blood flow with lymphatic drainage. There's stress relief, but a majority of what I do are older pets with arthritis and things like that.
Okay. And like, is it a few sessions does it take to see some benefit, or how does that work?
It varies. It's the funniest thing. So one of the stories I love to tell is so when I was getting certified to do massage, I was working at a doggy daycare, and I literally was like, I asked one of the clients if I could massage their pet. The pet was having, it was a little older, it was a lab mix, and was having some difficulty moving, and they're like, oh, he'd love a massage. And so like I brought him to the back, I had my book out, was looking at the muscles, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know. And I was done, and the dog was like jumping around like it was incredible, the results I saw. And so like his reaction was immediately like on point. Like it was amazing to see. But then some dogs it does tend to take about 2 or 3 sessions to get a response from. So it just varies.
Do you think, so I certainly understand the athletes and the seniors, but do you think when you do this sort of work, there's also an emotional component, like an emotional release to it? Or what do you think about that?
That's a good question. So one of the things, because people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, would it be a good thing for stress, or would it be a good thing for thunderstorm anxiety and things like that? And I actually, I really honestly don't feel like it's the most beneficial for stress. Yes, they enjoy it. So yes, there is a response of like, it's a totally different response than I ever had gotten from any other thing I did working on a dog. They definitely like, their eyes will widen and they'll kind of fall back if it feels really good, you know, and things like that. But in terms of like stress and stuff like that, I feel like that's more of a human trait, because I feel like we know that a massage is supposed to make us not feel stress. Dogs don't know that. They live in the moment. So I feel like they feel good in the moment, but then once it's done, it's done.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
I'm sorry. Do dogs carry stress in the same way that we do, like the tight neck, the tight shoulders, tight hip flexors? Do they carry that sort of tightness and stress, and does massage help that?
Yes. My lighting is terrible. I'm so sorry. I'm an actor too, so it's like.
So we don't have the best stage lighting and makeup.
No, I'm pet sitting, so I don't have my place.
Just a little people, Michael.
They carry tension in their neck, and they carry, yeah. But it's hard. See, it's hard for someone to actually say, "Oh, is that stress?"
Gotcha.
You know, like humans always are just like, yeah, we carry stress like this because we're tied up and knotted up because like this is an emotion for us. You know, I feel like pets don't. I feel like the way that they express their stress is more through like panting, through behavioral things, not really so much in tightness of muscles.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, but I'm still going to push a little bit, because this is something that I heard years ago, and I've just always understand it. So many years ago, there was a trainer that I was listening to. I don't even know if they were called podcasts back then, but he talked about something called a gracilis muscle. Are you familiar with that term? I was looking for my fake dog. I don't see him, but it's on the inside of the thigh. And I started looking for that in anxiety dogs, and I would find like these golf ball size knots, and sometimes bigger with bigger dogs. I mean, like these hard knots. And, you know, sometimes the dog would be like, you ain't touching that. I'm not having it. And then sometimes if we could get that worked out with, I'm certainly not certified to massage, but you know, when I've got them in my hands, I'm going to do something. but good foods and good things and all that kind of stuff, we did start to see some improvement. Now, whether they were connected or not, I'm not entirely sure. But what are your thoughts on that type of thinking from a trainer?
That they're carrying stress in their gracilis muscle?
That when they are anxious and they sort of live in this tense world, that's one of the places it could be, not that they're holding anxiety there per se, but that the muscles start to just be overused because they are tense a lot.
See, so that muscle area is one of the hip flexor muscles. And so it's a pretty like that area in general. There's the gracilis, there's the sartorius, and there's the iliacus along with the iliopsoas muscle there. And so in general, for dogs aging, those are tight because the way that dogs are designed is they're forward. And so for momentum and pushing, so they're going to be pushing a lot with those back legs.
Yes.
So the tension of that also coincides with back tension. So that is basically a place to be tight for a dog. Okay. Now, but thinking about it, I could say it could coincide with if you have a dog that tends to be like whenever we see a dog that is fearful or has like anxiety during a thunderstorm, they do kind of like hunch up a little bit. Yeah, exactly. So in turn, that could cause a tension along the spine and in the hips. Okay. So you could see it in that sense.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. I recently heard something that was a little surprising to me about how much pressure is actually put on our dog's shoulders just in standing, that is where they hold sort of the most of their weight. And it's partly what you just said, is that it's so that those back legs can engage for the fast run when they need it, but they're braced here.
Yeah.
So is that a common area to see some pain and discomfort?
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I said, so they're pushing forward. And so most dogs and horses and animals are right-handed or left-handed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they don't run in a straight line. Most animals kind of run in a sort of like a direction that's either which they're more dominant for.
Okay.
And so what they're doing is, so if you have a right-handed dog, say, that uses the right more and they push more with the back left. So it's always going to be the using of the back left kind of starts to go from overusing. So they'll start to get some inflammation in the hips and they'll be overcompensating in the front right. And so that's the first thing. That's when a young dog, I can kind of start telling that because I'll feel the tension around the shoulder sling muscles here. And then a little less tension back here because they've started to already overcompensate some to alleviate the pressure. So, and it sort of goes in this pattern of like back left, front right, front left, back right. And so the older they get, you'll see the tension start to kind of move from place to place.
So are there things that a pet parent can look for as indicators to say we need a Michael to come do a home visit? What are the signs?
So there's a lot of if you have older pets, some things to look for discomfort and pain are excessive panting. If you have dogs that are pacing all through the night, that could be a sign of discomfort. Really taking a look and watching your pet if they are thinking about laying down. We always kind of like, how long are they thinking about that laying? You know, sometimes they'll circle for a little bit more than they should. Also standing up from laying down. If you're really watching a pet, you'll kind of see them struggle some. And then in general, just with standing. I mean, you can see a pet that is, if they don't have comfort, the way that they'll stand is you'll see them leaning over here more. And the more you see that, then they've probably got something going on with that
Gotcha.
front arm and things like that.
Kind of like we would to take pressure off of one knee, put more on the other. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then and things like going up and down stairs, that's another sign. Jumping up into the car, that's another thing if they're hesitating more to do that.
Okay. So as I think about this, because this is new to me, I've honestly never had a pet massage. I've had massages and not often enough, but I tend to think of those things often as joint issues, not necessarily muscular issues. And when I think massage, I think muscle. So help me put those pieces together.
It's kind of both.
Okay.
So it's sort of like this. So arthritis is inflammation.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at arthritis in a joint, what's happening is that the joint, like say it's like a knee joint. So it'll start getting inflamed, and in turn, the muscles will start tensing. And when the muscles start tensing, then the joint will get more inflamed. And it's sort of, I always call it this dramatic circular path of destruction that goes on. So it's always, so what you're doing is in massage is that you're alleviating the tension from the muscle bands to help decrease the inflammation in the joints.
I see. Okay. When a pet parent notices these things and they're going to reach out to somebody like you, are there things that they need to do to ready their dog to receive a massage?
No, I mean it's funny. I don't I always, so my thing is some massage therapists bring a table. I used to bring a table and I just stopped because I just felt like it was adding more fear. Like, because every time a dog sees a table, they see grooming. Unless it's an agility dog. Agility dogs tend to they'll hop right up on a table because they know. So I usually just I tell them, no, I'll just go, and I usually sit down with the pet on the floor. I'll have treats, and then I kind of talk about the pet's history, let the pet smell me. And then I usually just kind of wherever I'm sitting, I'll sort of start to do the massage. So sometimes I'm doing under a table, sometimes I'm doing it in the bedroom. So it just varies. Yeah, because it's really more about the connection between me and the pet. So the owners really don't have to do too much. I'm trying to think if an owner has done something. Because usually I'm just
I just didn't know if they needed to set the mood or,
They can. I mean, they can for me than anything else.
Exactly.
I play music, and people are like, "Oh, she's deaf." I'm like, "Oh no, music's for me." Because if I feel good, then I transfer that over to the pet.
So there is an energetic connection about all of this. Are there some dogs?
Absolutely.
Are there some dogs that won't receive it, that just won't tolerate?
I've been doing this since 2011, and I can actually probably do a handful of dogs only a handful that didn't want to do it. And some are more, they just don't like men. They're male aggressive. So it's just, I have to measure it out because a lot of times I'll have pets that I just have to kind of work them through it. To help them, and then they sort of relax into it. Some relax right away into it. Some just want to play, and then they'll relax and then play. But then I have had a couple pets where I've just been like, the anxiety and stress that this pet is feeling from being handled is far, far, far worse than anything I'm going to help him with, So I have to balance that out. So, but I will say there are certain breeds that
Okay. We want to know.
It's the breeds that don't like control. So pugs are my number one. And I work on a pug and she loves it. So it's not all pugs, but pugs don't really like to be told what to do. And so they tend to not like massage so much. Beagles are another one that tend to not like it so much. What? And it's not so much they're miserable and they're biting at me or anything like that. It's a lot of, they're just the lack of control is causing them so much anxiety that the massage is not going to be beneficial for them.
So what about after the massage? What's important for the pet parent to do following that massage? And, as we think about this sort of holistic approach to pet health coaching, what do you recommend for these dogs who are in these aging conditions or athletic conditions or whatever it may be as part of their supportive protocol?
Mm-hmm. So warming up is a big, big, big thing. I try to get clients to do more, which is really tough. I mean, because it's just sort of we barely do it for ourselves, So, but so when I do a massage, one of the coolest things that I love is that dogs will sort of automatically do what they're supposed to do after a massage. Like, you know, like how we always get a drink of water, they will go and they'll go drink water.
And make a
They
big
will do,
stretch.
yeah, they'll do a stretch, they'll do a full body shake to let everything loose. And so if I have an older pet that has been having arthritis issues and I do a very deep massage, I usually tell the owner, you know, watch out for overexertion because overexertion can then cause them to be tight. And so sometimes I've had pets that have been tight the next day and then fine. Sometimes I've had pets that were tight 3 days later. It was really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And then they're fine, but they're always fine the next day. So I always say to watch for that. It's actually really rare though if I get that, but it's still something I always just warn people for. And then in between appointments, I usually talk a lot about in the morning before you go out, because a lot of times we just like the dogs up, we get them on a leash, we take them outside, and the older they are, they need more time to kind of warm up the joints, warm up the muscles. So I'll have an owner, and I try to think about the most simplest things to do, like so that we don't have to do so much. Because the less we have to do, the more we'll do it, you know. So even if like you have your bed, you're laying in bed with your pet, if they sleep with you, vibrations is a big stroke that I always, because it's one that you can sort of like do and not really have to know muscle anatomy. You can just do, and they're just like light, taking the myofascial, which is that all that skin they have. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the difference between dogs and humans, is that they have this really big, thick myofascial area that's full of nutrients, blood cells. And if you see the fascia tight against the muscle, the myofascia, then that means that muscle is tight. So it's almost like wet jeans. So if you can loosen up that fascia, that's in turn going to help loosen up the muscles. And this also action is going to help warm up a pet. So just that they're laying next to you in the morning, you're just kind of aggressively petting them almost with 3 fingers. And just doing it against, so just doing along the chest and along the neck. And they'll love it. I mean, they'll get into it. And you can even lift up the fascia some and just shake it like that. So you're just sort of doing that. And then along this, and just basically where like, so like shoulders, neck, backs, the spine, the hips. And that just sort of gets and then doing like one of these just to get everything warmed up.
So should they all have that looseness? And the reason I'm asking this is for my own sake. So my dachshund, and he's 20, I can lift his, and I mean, it's like just, my female pit, she's like, And it's tight, but I've always thought she was tight in the neck, and I've just never been able to figure out what to do about it. But I thought, well, I don't think I realized that was a clue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she could be tight around her neck there. And also, like, it depends on the dog. Like some dogs don't really have like a golden retriever is going to have a huge amount of skin. And some aren't. But a lot of times, like, that's a good test. So one of the tween massage techniques is skin rolling, which is taking up the piece of skin and kind of rolling it along. And you can really tell if a pet is tight in that area. So that could be something where your dog is tight in the neck there.
Okay. Do you have any videos that people could watch? Like you mentioned Tweena. I know Dr. Ruth has a video doing that, but do you have any that they could go watch?
I do. I don't know where they are though.
You can send the link and we'll add it later. That's no problem. Are there other techniques a pet parent can do at home besides and I don't even know what you called this. I was so fascinated by the fact that that Poppy doesn't do that. What do you call it?
The vibrations? It's just vibrations. Yeah. And then there's a technique called cross fiber, which is, so basically you're just kind of going like transversely against the muscle. And again, just kind of cupping your hand like that. And you're just going to go like this.
Almost like a scratching motion?
Right, but just using the tips of your fingers. And that's going to get a little deeper into it. So if I'm doing like my chest here, so along here, and that's another one that you can just do. Oh, okay, I know where the chest is, so I'll do the chest. Oh, I'll do the shoulder. Oh, I'll do the neck. And what you're actually feeling for, and the more you do it, is I always describe muscle tension as wrinkled paper. So the bands will sort of like, I don't know, I image it better than actually like imaging a muscle band. And if you can actually try to de-wrinkle the paper, then you'll start that's releasing some of that muscle tension. And you'll see a different response with your pet than you've ever had before. But I warn you, they will be addicted to Your dog will start to go like this to you.
Rub me.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm a little bit guilty of that, and I have no clue what I'm doing. I just know whenever there's a dog sitting next to me, I can't keep my hands off of them. I'm rubbing something or poking
Yeah.
the acupressure point or something because
Mhm.
I don't know, it just feels good to me to connect, and I know they like it. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
are there any dangers for the pet parent to keep in mind of trying to do something at home
Right.
themselves?
So, um, most of the time, no. You just never want to really do massage if a pet is really dehydrated from sickness. Cancer, you want to be really careful with. There's some theories of with the idea of if you say for something like an osteosarcoma, which would be a cancer on a bone, if you massage near that area, then you're increasing blood flow to the area, which can make the cancer worse. So I would definitely that's where you want to have a professional come in to work on your pet for that. But most of the time, just you want to be careful if they're sick or anything like that. But for simple strokes like effleurages or I'm sorry, for the cross fiber and vibrations, you're totally fine.
Okay. Any other at-home techniques?
I really like
Does
the
petting count?
petting
I know these people. I know what they're going to ask.
with purpose.
Okay. I like it.
I mean, and this is what that is. I mean, the petting is a little bit more aggressive.
A little assertive.
And you can also do things so there's active range of motion exercises. So there's passive range, which are motions that we do for the pet, which I tend to, and again, because I know me, and if you're going to tell me to do, hey, you have to get up and you're going to have to do this for your dog, I'll be like, oh, great. And then after a week, I'll be like, I'm not doing it anymore, you know? So there's active range of motion where the dogs do it themselves. And it's stuff that we basically do every day, but now I just have people do it with more intent. And it's just things like sitting and standing. You know, before you go outside, you've done the quick rub down, got that warmed up, then just have your pets, sit and stand, sit and stand, sit and stand, and then you'll be good to go.
I call those puppy push-ups.
Puppy push-ups, exactly.
From the trainer point of view. Puppy push-ups, drill sergeant style sometimes when they're in trouble. What about these mats and CC loops and those kinds of things? Do you find benefit in them for the dog that's tight and muscle tightness or joint tightness?
Yeah, so it's yes. So I have a client now, and I've had some agility people that really like them. I personally had not seen it in person until recently when I had a client that had a dog that had a torn cruciate ligament. So in the stifle, there's a ligament there. Very normal injury. It's like
I just went through that with Poppy.
Oh, really? How's he doing?
She's fine. I had her on strict rest for a while. I had bought an CC loop and lots of essential oils for the ligaments and Ligaplex and all that kind of stuff. And about 6 weeks in, she's up and mobile.
Oh, good. That's
not
awesome.
only mobile, but running. I mean, she's wide open again. So
yeah. So I'm pretty sold on the assisty loops for cruciate stuff. Because that was the thing I had it's been difficult for me to get clients to buy it. So I finally had a client that did. And I'm also the client's also getting cold laser therapy, but not often. And the dog had a partially torn cruciate. She got the assisty loop. The dog will only about 5 minutes because it's a husky and he just gets a little. He just doesn't want to sit around. And the dog is doing so much better. Good. So I'm pretty sold on assisty loops and things like that now. So
yeah. You mentioned cold laser. Do you think there's an appropriate at-home unit for people to consider?
I don't.
Okay, that's fair.
I just don't. Yeah, the classes are so usually your vet will have a class 4, which is pretty strong. Some mobile people will have class 4s, so that's the really only one I would trust, only because that's what I've seen work.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's what's so interesting about these modalities. So acupuncture and massage and cold laser, and it's like with in Cairo, it's sort of with people like some pets respond to massage better, some pets respond to cold laser better. I worked in a dog that had arthritis in every single joint. I spent an hour and 20 minutes massaging this dog. It was like sweaty. I was like, I'm going to make this dog walk again, you know? And the dog, she was like, nothing changed. And I was like, I released so much. How is nothing changed? And so she got cold laser therapy. Like 2 weeks later, the dog was like running. So it's
Wow.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how we all respond to things
Oh,
differently.
that's true. I mean, and you and I know this, but a lot we'll recommend a product or whatever, but we have to say not everything works for everybody.
Absolutely.
You just sometimes have to experiment and see what's going to be the right thing for you or your pet or whatever. And even though it's a fabulous product, it just might not work for you.
Absolutely.
So, what about foods and supplements for the arthritic dog or the performance dog? And we'll break those into two topics, but what can they focus on from the proactive and the wellness side in addition to this therapeutic work?
Well, so I mean, you know, I'm going to promote the crock-pot
Please
diet.
go ahead. Absolutely.
So the veterinarian that I work for, Dr. Roberts, she has her own recipe called the original crock-pot diet, and so um, I'm pro for home cooking if you can for your pets, because you know what's going to go into it. You can design your diet based on your pet's specific needs, and it's all about the best thing that's going to be beneficial for your pet is gearing everything towards being anti-inflammatory lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing what's going in your food is going to be the best bet for that. So for agility people, and for especially for my senior pets, I promote the home cooking. Supplement wise, I always recommend getting on a glucosamine chondroitin, but one that also has MSM for inflammation and boswellia, just only because I have seen the best results from that combination.
Mm-hmm.
I have had dogs, so there are a couple products. So I like Dr. Roberts' Arthropause,
Right.
which is basically taken off of a product that used to be around, but they split it up, which has driven me nuts. But it was called Arthro Ease, and it was a product that had boswellia, MSM, glucosamine chondroitin, and I would give it to a dog that was limping, and 2 days later they would not be limping. So that's how well I saw it work. Unfortunately, Arthro Ease, they have split it up into two different. Now they have Pain Plus Tabs and Arthro Ease, which I've tried to combine the two, and it's not the same results.
Yeah. Okay. But Arthropause from Dr. Ruth's store, omegas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Are there specific foods or proteins or veggies that you would highlight as anti-inflammatory to consider?
So anything that helps the liver detoxify, and I usually, so in the idea of Chinese medicine, we have yin and yang, yin being cooling, yang being hot. And so most dogs tend to run hot in Chinese medicine, especially down here in the South. And we call them yin deficient dogs. And so they need more cooling protein. So in Chinese medicine, certain proteins are cooling and hot. So a lot of times I'll have pets that are on chicken, which is seen a lot, which is a hot protein. So I normally will have them switch to pork or beef to start with. And then adding in Calabrese vegetables that help the liver detoxify, which go into the crock-pot diet, like spinach or kale, and things like that. And the main thing, too, that I try to get people to home cook is because most pets need to lose weight, which is going to be one of the number one thing that's going to help them no matter what. Pets that have arthritis. I mean, for me, I've got like a 5 to 10 pound, like if I gain about 10 pounds from now, this knee starts to hurt. When I stay where I'm supposed to stay, it doesn't. that's the difference it makes. So, so just getting on a home cooked diet, they immediately drop that weight as it is. So, and absolutely, and omega fatty acids and fish oil are really great for decreasing inflammation as well.
Awesome. Anything else you would like to add about massage or pet wellness? Things that these dog mamas and maybe dads who are listening to us can take away from this?
Give it a chance if you're cynical about it. A lot of people, I think, equate massage with sort of like it's a treat, or like a foo-foo spa kind of thing. Like, oh, you spoil your pet's getting massages. And it's not, I mean, yeah, it is that. I mean, you can give yourself a birthday massage and stuff like that, but massage is really there. It's a physical therapy. Right. And we live in a world that we want pills to fix everything, and that's sort of where veterinary medicine has really just kind of going, and I've seen dogs that, have been getting massages, once a month, maybe every other month for years and years and years, and they're 12 and 13 and haven't had to take any pills whatsoever for arthritis. Mm-hmm. So it's a real thing. Right. It's a real thing, and it's there so that we can give the best to our pets.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, this has been really educational for me, and I appreciate you taking the time to share this. And for those of you near Charleston, and I saw on your website LA, so you bi-coastal?
Yeah, I got to change that. I was bi-coastal. Yeah, so I was bi-coastal. I tried to move back to LA for acting, and then COVID hit, so I just had to change it. But I'm actually still trying to be bi-coastal. So
we'll in your heart you are. But yeah, so you're down in the Charleston area, and your website is?
It's PAWsitive-wellness.com.
Great. And I will add that to the video so people can see it written out, and then we'll add it to the bio I create for Michael when these go live as post on YouTube, Facebook, and all those places. So thank you very much, Michael. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
We hope that you have enjoyed today's podcast and learned new things to help support your dog's well-being for many years to come. For more information about nutrition and pet health coaching services, please visit my website, welloiledcanine.com. Thank you and have a great day.